2006 Honda Odyssey high pressure power steering hose replacement. I'm Brian Esser from How To Automotive. I'm going to walk you through the process of replacing that. First step you want to do is get your vehicle racked up. Doing this at home, use floor jacks and jack stands. You're going to need to jack the front of the car up as high as you can. You're going to be crawling underneath if you're doing this at home. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove the top engine cover. So by turning these little tabs a quarter turn to the left, and then just lift it straight off and pull towards you. Next, what I did was I removed all the fluid out of the power steering reservoir here. And then I went ahead and removed the two 10mm bolts to hold the high pressure power steering hose on and popped it up. And I got a bucket underneath catching any fluid that I got the vehicle up in the air. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here on the passenger side here. And here's the high pressure hose coming down that we disconnect from above. We're going to disconnect the sensor here. So we're going to just squeeze the little electric connector and pull it off. So now right here, if you follow to the left of the subframe right here, just behind the sway bar is a little bracket holding the power steering hose on, and you can see the pressure switch sensor here. So we're gonna on the back side of it is a 10mm bolt. You're gonna remove that, and then you're gonna follow it over to the left, and then there's gonna be another hold down right here, and there's a 10mm bolt that's gonna be right on the opposite side here, and you remove that, and then you're gonna loosen the 14mm line right here and go ahead and then you can remove the hose. So the way I got to the high pressure line here on the rack and pinion side was I used a crow's foot and then an extension, and then my ratchet over here, cracked it free a couple of turns, and now I can spin it off by hand. So now that you got the high pressure hose disconnected from the rack, maneuver it over the rack and kind of just pull it through. So here on the passenger side, I'm also going to reach through the suspension here and grab the high pressure hose and pull it down and help work it and then pull it out on the opposite side over here. So it's going to come out over here. So after matching up my new power steering hose, I'm going to go ahead and transfer over the pressure sensor to the new one. I want to show you the part number for this particular vehicle. It's a factory part, as you can see. Okay, from underneath, I'm going to take the side with the rubber hose with this fitting on it. And I'm going to route it, right now I'm on the driver's side of the car, and I'm going to route it towards the passenger side of the car, and I'm going to route it through the AC lines, underneath the AC lines here, and up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around on this side and get through through this hole here. I'm going to help guide it up towards the top of the car the way it came out. So I'm actually bending the line upwards and routing it up. And I'll do that, and then I'll come back on this side and I'll route the hose. And I'll route the hose through and back into position. So now that the power steering hose is pretty much routed in there, I'm going to go ahead and start the fitting here by hand and leave it loose. I'll just start it a few threads and leave it loose, and then I'll rotate the power steering hose, and I'll start the brackets. They go over here, and then when it goes on this side here. So after getting the main fitting here started, then you can maneuver the the power steering hose here up and down, and then start the brackets here. So you can start the bracket for that, and there's two of them, one over here. So you'll do that one also. And then once you get those brackets started and tightened down, then you can go ahead and tighten up the fitting that goes into the rack and pinion. And one of the ways that how I got the hose started is I used my left hand on top over the top of the sway bar here like this, and I kind of held the line in place. And then on the other side, on the inside of the transmission, up by the subframe, I reached my hand through the transmission and subframe like this, and then I was able to use my fingers to start the fitting on the rack and pinion. To tighten the fitting, I used my crow's foot with the extension and the ratchet. Now that I got the car back on the ground, I'm going to reach around the back and pull finish pulling the hose back up through. And now I'm just going to mount this end into the power steering pump and put the two screws in, the two 10mm bolts, and tighten it down. And also when you put this in, you want to make sure you put it in nice. You don't want it cocked at an angle or anything, because you'll pinch the O-ring, so you want it to push it in evenly straight down. So after you get the hose re-secured and tightened back down, you're going to fill it up with the power steering reservoir up with Honda approved power steering fluid. And I like to fill it all the way up to the top, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the car, and the level is probably going to drop dramatically as it sucks the fluid into the rack and pinion. And then I'll readjust it. If it's too full, I'll suck a little out. If it's right at the level, perfect. And then I'll let it run for 2 or 3 minutes idling without turning the wheels at all. And then after a minute or so, a couple minutes or so, I'll slowly turn the wheel left and right, and then double check the power steering fluid level, because it may drop as it sucks it into the system. And then the last step would be is to put your top engine cover back on, and that'll complete the high pressure power steering hose on a 2006 Honda Odyssey. I'm Brian Essek from How To Automotive. I'd like to thank you guys for watching my videos, encourage you to subscribe, and invite you to come over and check out the website at howtoautomotive.com.